them no issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind, make sure everything is fine while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with camping promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. I remember you say Liberation Day, and I ask, you sure is that you wanna say? Cause it sounded so good to believe. And deception is a powerful thing when you lose your rightful thinking. So we voted for the bling. But you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. Yellow, yellow all the way is what everybody say. Cell phone ring, man answering. Yellow, yellow, no hello. Teeth get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. Old school parables say you know what you have, but you don't know what you go get. So cherish what you have to diminish regret. But what on earth lasts forever? Not even things created by the great Jehovah. So the green grass ceased to grow to allow the yellow vibes to flow. But boy, one song I sing, one bell I ring. If we didn't know, we never know yellow would have treated us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way.
And good night to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Once again, it is time for Talking Points. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'll be here with you until the 10 o'clock hour. It's now 4 minutes after the hour of 8 on the Spice Isle of Grenada.
Past administration, the cause of frustration.
Inclusive of the islands of Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession.
And we are live on the Talking Points Facebook page.
Economic recession.
So you can search for Talking Points Grenada. We're also live via our YouTube page. So you can search for Talking Points. Yeah, you could put a thing on your TV and thing on your ID. You understand? You could nice up yourself and thing there. Yeah. So we've got a lot to talk about, not sticking. And folks, hey, as of tonight, you can call via WhatsApp. We know some people sometimes you want to call the program, but you don't have credit. You can call. You can call via 440-7377. So you save the Talking Points number into your phone, right, so that you can call as well. Nice?
Maybe by the next full moon. Although things are turning at a very slow pace, we now run no risk.
So you can actually call Talking Points now via WhatsApp. So you don't have to have credit. And we know most of you listening to the program via the internet anyway. So once you have your internet connection, right, you'll be able to call via WhatsApp. We're going to see if we could get it even via Messenger too. You know, you never know. We're setting up things, man. You know what? I'm just in the mood for it tonight, man. I'm going to take that tune right from the top. Yeah. Pulling up that one right from the top, you know?
This is not politics. Please don't forget. I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet, but have no fear. I'm going to get there. I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations.
Let me start the shout outs. Hey, Gil, good night to you, and Williams, and I'm seeing Dwight and Earl. I'm seeing you all over there on the Talking Points Facebook page. Just remember to like and share. Yeah, we're not just jumping in and say good night. We liking and we sharing. Nice. So glad to have you all in with us tonight as usual. And over on the YouTube page, Anne-Marie Celestine, good night to you, and Kathleen, Christine, Clive, Errol, Adrian, and and I called Anne-Marie already, Kathleen, Matthew, good night to all of you, yeah. So to our viewers and our supporters locally, regionally, internationally, wherever you are, we're saying a special good night to all of you.
Man must reason.
So remember, you now have the option that you can call in via YouTube. So you can call in, not YouTube, via WhatsApp. So 1473-440-7373. Yeah, and you can call us via WhatsApp. So even if you do have the credit, you don't have to try to call the straight line or so. You can call into the program via WhatsApp. Wherever you are on the planet, yeah. No, that's going to make it a lot easier for many of you. The only thing is, now that I have my setup for the local and the international calls, I have to find one for the WhatsApp number now. Yeah, because I have to kind of keep looking at the side to see if a call is coming via then. And you can call at any time. You can call at any time during tonight's program.
We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain.
Yeah, just to start things off a little earlier, I was looking at a video of a situation in Molinier. As we know, you had this landslip that took place in Molinier, and the construction is taking place there now. But pedestrians were still passing through. The people who reside in that area or close by were still passing through that area using the footpath there. It's being advised, and this is not a message from the government of Grenada. Let me make this clear. It is not a message from the government of Grenada. It's a concerned citizen in the area who is seeing what's happening. That now the footpath itself in several parts has slid down onto where they're doing the construction, so that it's dangerous for anybody to pass through that area. You know, and times like these is when I'm wondering, but where is the, where the press second them on this one? Good night.
Greetings, happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Miss Jacob. How are you doing tonight?
Oh God, via those day, my cousin burying tomorrow.
Oh, accept my sympathy.
My cousin, she living in Manicas, yes.
Okay. Yes. So accept my sympathy.
Thank you very much. And I wish all the best for 2023 for you, with health and everything that goes with it. And keep up your good work, what you're doing.
All right. And I can only do it good if everybody contributes. So we need the people to call in, give information, etc., etc., etc. Nice.
Yes. I would like to give you how you will get it.
Hey?
Come and fight.
I haven't heard what you said.
I will give you a donation, but if you come and fight, how you get it?
Let me tell you, hold it still. We go talk to management.
Okay.
Hold it still. We'll talk to management. Okay, my dear?
Right.
All right.
You fix the radio, the station?
We're working on that aspect of it. Don't worry. From Monday, you'll be hearing a little different.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, sweetheart.
Nice. So we'll talk directly on that one.
Love it.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Okay, wonderful.
Bye-bye. Right.
Yes, indeed, folks. 440-7377. You can call directly, or you can enter that number into your phone, and then you can call it via WhatsApp. So you can make your WhatsApp call. And also our international number, that's 347-329-3101. You can call us there as well. No, I don't have the international number on WhatsApp. In fact, I might be able to do that, yeah. Give me a couple of days. I might get the international number on WhatsApp too. Although we only need one on WhatsApp, really, yeah? Yeah, we only really need one on WhatsApp. So we have the 440-7377. That's on WhatsApp. We could accept your calls there. We could accept your direct calls and your WhatsApp calls via there. All right, nice. Stanley, what's up, bro? Good night to you. Cousin Coy, I see you in it. Yeah, Margaret, Sherma, Joyce, good night to you all. Hillary, good night. Hey, and hey, my good friends down there in Trinidad. Yeah, good night to you all.
And however, I foresee a pretensive unity that will mislead a lot just before the next.
And to my relatives wherever you are, my good friend out there in Anguilla, I know that you're locked in. Good night to you, bro. You and the wife.
The thing politician would trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay.
So yeah, I was speaking about the situation in Molinier, and it is a dangerous situation for the residents of Molinier. Those who are traversing there, who are trying to get from one end to the other. So they've been using that footpath to get to the other side. Like if they want to go down into Grand Mall and they're on the other side, they've been using that footpath. From what I saw in that video, I would advise that you all do not pass there at all. Because even if you're walking on it and it caves in while you're walking on it, the gravel that's coming down may cover you. So let's avoid a situation like that totally. If you're listening from Molyneux, and I know I have some wonderful listeners in Molyneux, I ain't see the pop-up online there yet. Let me just make sure I send a message and let them know that we there. But yeah, let me just make sure that they know that we there, right? But if you're in the Molyneux area and usually you use the footpath there to go from one side to the other, it's advised that you don't do that. And again, as I said, I haven't seen, I didn't get an opportunity to see the national report tonight. So I don't know if it was there. I don't know if the various news agencies, I didn't get to see news either tonight. So I don't know if the news agencies, MTV, GBN, picked up on it. But it is dangerous to folks who usually walk through that area. Obviously, you can't drive. There's no road to drive. So you can't drive through there. All right? But some folks were pedestrians, were walking through. So please, don't attempt it. I had one or two bike man was taking a chance and try and drive through. Papa, if you want to see the end of 2023, don't do it. Don't pass through there. Nice? Right. Yeah. So that work is continuing. But you're having now, they're doing the work to the bottom side. And the top side where people were walking, that is caving in. So don't do it. All right? Nice. I hope the message gets through.
Although enough things affect us negatively, we are still blessed by the Almighty. This poem may not be liked by you, but I know you will like this poem, for this poem is a problematic poem. This is not politics. Please don't forget. I'm just practicing to be a poet. Not qualified as yet.
And I just wanted to pull up something here that I saw it. So I made sure that I kept a copy of it on my device. Yeah, I made sure I kept a copy of it on my device. But I don't know why I'm not finding it immediately. But I did have a copy of it. Let me see if I get that.
No obligation. No one knows me none, so everything is fine, fine. As I am, that I am, I am.
Yeah, going back to the same situation that I spoke about last night in Carriacou regarding the fuel situation. Now, Dominica seems to have a similar situation when it comes to fuel shortage. So what they have done, and this is a release by GIS Dominica, they have said the government of Dominica has taken tangible steps in dealing with the recent shortage of gasoline in and on the island. This has included leasing new storage facilities at DCP, whatever DCP is, and purchasing 10,000 barrels of gasoline from non-traditional sources. Currently, Thursday the 5th of January 2023, there are 2 ships in port offloading gasoline supplies to Petrocarib at Jimmet and the new storage facilities. This will ensure gasoline supplies to the island for the coming weeks. There are no foreseeable shortages of gasoline at this time. That's in Dominica. Meanwhile, in Carriacou, we have a situation where they're putting the gas truck on a boat every other day and send it up there, endangering the lives of the guys that have to be with the gas truck and all the passengers on the vessel and the vessel itself between Grenada and on the way to Carriacou. And it is not sustainable because there is not enough storage on the island so that they can bring up enough so that in case you have an emergency or something happens, that the island of Carriacou has enough fuel for at least a 2-week period or a 3-week period or whatever it is, even if it's a 1-week period, that at least they have enough. Now, Dominica has a similar situation. And you see what a government that makes sense does. They have decided that they are going to lease new storage facilities. They're going to make sure that they have new facilities. Yes, storage facilities. And they have purchased enough gasoline so that they don't have a problem. You don't expect them to purchase 10,000 for the island of Carriacou, 10,000 barrels of gasoline. But at least that you work along, and from non-traditional sources, they said, but they were doing what was necessary to ensure that you don't have that shortage taking place in Dominica. Meanwhile, in Carriacou, boots on the ground. Yeah, boots on the ground. Yeah, that's what taking place. Yeah.
They began with the blame game, giving NNP more fame. Past administration, the cause of frustration. Past administration, chief of corruption. Then to economic recession, we can't give you attention. Economic recession, the cause of poverty in the land.
So see, that's when we say, you see how people that understand what they're doing operate, and how people that don't understand what they're doing operate. Yeah? Because if there's a shortage, what you tend to do, you put things in place to mitigate against that shortage becoming something that's normal. Right? So even though you may have your storage facility on the island, it's inadequate. So you have to ensure that either you lease or you work along with the company to get proper storage, increased storage in the same way that Dominica is doing it. They don't say that's not the government responsibility and you can't blame the government. The government stepped in, they lease, and they get gas. What's stopping us from having that happening in Carriacou? Yeah? Yeah. 440-7377. And for those of you outside of Grenada, 347-329-3101. And I already missed a call a lot. Yeah, as I told you all, I have to be looking now, 2 on that side and 1 on that side to make sure that I'm getting the calls. Yeah.
Refrain. Busy governing, busy managing, busy politicking, busy neglecting, busy inflicting poverty and hunger throughout Grenada. 1,000 Frenchmen can never...
Yeah, and somebody just told me there, before they come and say that I said there is no storage in Carriacou, I didn't say that. It's inadequate storage on the island of Carriacou. Yeah, they have the 3 tanks down in Harveyville. I know they have the 3 tanks down in Harveyville, but it is not enough. Because if it was enough, you would not have the situation where people running out of gas in Carriacou or people afraid to go anywhere because they want to keep the little bit of gas that they have in the vehicle for emergency purposes. Yeah? So there is a responsibility of those in authority in Carriacou, because they're saying who had the best PS and who had boots on the ground and who built school in 6 months that was building before they come anyway and all this kind of thing. Yeah? With all of that happening, you have to ensure that you protect and preserve the life and property of the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and ensuring that there's proper fuel, enough stored on the island at any point in time. So in case something happens, you have a fallback of at least a week, 2 weeks, where you may not have a vessel being able to come up and dock and so on. At least that you have enough storage on the island. I mean, that's common sense. But then again, you remember I say, common sense, yeah. And again, yeah, as the person is saying, it's because more businesses were opened in Carriacou under the new National Party administration. There are more vehicles in Carriacou because of the road network that was improved under the new National Party administration. Yeah? That's why much more people have vehicles in Carriacou. So what might have been okay storage 25 or 30 years ago is no longer proper storage for Carriacou in 2023. And anybody with common, again, I keep saying that. But anyway, anybody with common sense would know that. But we ain't accusing the leadership in Carriacou of having common sense. I don't want to go to court, so I am not accusing the leadership in Carriacou and Petit Martinique of having common sense. Let me just make that clear, that I ain't accusing them of that. Nice?
December. So what we do from January to November? Suck salt and drink now water. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at ease.
Good night to you, Gleason, baby daddy, Shajan, Charlene, and Stanley. Good night to each of... I think I said good night to Stanley before, but I'm saying it again, yeah?
What will be a theme for the next campaign? It can...
Or DCP is Dominica Coconut Products. Oh, okay, that facility is used to manufacture soap from coconut oil. That's what Stanley is telling me. Yeah, I seem to remember seeing that facility when I was in Dominica a couple years ago, yeah.
For NDC, whatever, Grenada still belongs to we. Although enough things affect us negatively, we are still blessed by the Almighty. This poem may not be liked by you, but I know you will like this poem, for this poem is a problematic poem.
Yeah, good night to you, Rodney, Barry, Shamin, Ragba Singh, Nigel John. I think you're in the wrong place, son. Yeah, I feel you come on the wrong chat. Yeah, you seem to have a personal issue with me. Yeah, because if you have to find one of my children mother and ask them questions about me, and so it seems like you, Nigel John, have a personal problem with me. Take it to the Lord in prayer. Find yourself on another chat. Nice? Good, Papa. Yeah, I have to say it as it is. You know me already. I plain talk.
World to live up to your expectation. Neither are you in to live up to mine.
Yeah, Jocelyn Matheson is saying the NNP gave us fantastic roads up there in Karaku, no bumps. Yeah. And Anne is saying they build a school in 6 months. They want to know what type of school is that. Yeah, I do the Marco Man business, Nigel. I'm leaving that up to you. All right, brother? Nice.
Serious business. There is a time for everything. And for everything there is a season. So man and man must reason. So I think it's prime time that we address some more issues. Simple information I will use. No rocket science to get you confused. So relax your mind. Make sure everything is fine while I take you down a poetic line. Trick us with campaign promises. We won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited.
And folks, again, the WhatsApp number 440-7377. You could also call directly on that number, and you can call the overseas line 347-329-3101. All right, nice.
So good to believe, and deception is a powerful.
I haven't seen Antonito tonight. I don't know where he is. Yeah, I haven't seen him pop on yet.
Cause we campaign promises, we won't stay at ease. That's the way it is. We've waited in vain, hoping you'll ease the strain, but you now refrain. You now refrain. Yellow, yellow.
Yeah, Maria, Linda, Imelda, Francois. Hey, Antonito, sorry, I've seen you now. Yeah.
Get yellow, house get yellow, bus get yellow, man get yellow, even green get yellow, and so says 11-4. When you trick us with campaign,
Just trying to make sure I get something organized here.
that's the way it is.
And folks, we're heading into our 49th anniversary of independence. 49th anniversary of us being an independent nation. Yeah. And unlike other people, I ain't gonna say don't take part in the independence activities and that kind of thing. Yeah. We are all Grenadians. It's independence. So we're going to take part in the different activities for the independence period, isn't it? Yeah, because we are responsible citizens. So we're going to take part in whatever it is that we have to take part in as responsible citizens and Grenadians. Nice? Beautiful.
No, we never know yellow that treat us so. When you trick us with campaign promises, we won't stay at it.
I haven't seen a listing come out. And again, that's why I keep referring to the lack of direction coming from the press secretary. And people may think that I keep sticking on the press secretary because you, the Grenadian people, have a right to know things. You have a right to know what's going on within your government. During the reign of the New National Party, every week you had post-cabinet press briefing. You had cabinet taking place on a Monday morning into a Monday afternoon. And then on a Tuesday, you would have your post-cabinet press briefing where a minister or ministers or permanent secretaries, technical people in various ministries and departments would come and report to you, the Grenadian people, what it is, the decisions coming out of cabinet or some of the upcoming projects or activities of the government. Yeah? They would report to you on a weekly basis. If it didn't take place on a Tuesday, it would be because there's a parliament sitting or there was a national address or something like that. And therefore, they did not give you the press report on a Tuesday. They might have put it on a Wednesday or so, or they put it down for the following week. Outside of that, government ministers under the New National Party and other technical people in the ministries, according to the issue you were dealing with, would make themselves available every Wednesday on GBN and different things. They would make themselves available. Are you seeing that happening now? Are you getting information in relation to what is taking place in your country at this point in time? Or is cabinet a secret society? They just make deals, they say what they want, they sign what they want, they do what they want, and they don't have to tell you nothing. And then disrespectfully to say to the media and the population in general that we go tell you something when we feel we have something to tell you. That's disrespectful. And that the media has sat down and allowed them to get away with that for this period of time. I don't know if some people in the media get mutitis all of a sudden. Yeah, there's a disease called mutitis. They're gone on mute. They can't talk. Yeah? They cannot say anything in relation to what has happened. Outside of the one or two PR pieces that you see people who are supposed to be media people doing on behalf of individual ministers. So you're a person in the media. Nobody is saying that you have to attack. Nobody is saying that you have to do a negative story in relation to government ministers. But some people in certain parts of the media are doing PR pieces. They end up in the news, and so full PR pieces, not news stories, PR pieces. There's a difference for certain ministers, and so that is happening from time to time. But are you getting a report on things? For instance, we've heard in the budget debate, we've heard from the budget statement that the government, part of the way that they're going to raise money for the economy, that they're going to raise money to do some of the things that they say, that they're going to raise some of that $1.2 billion that they have as a budget, right? Even though they have a budget of $1.2 billion, they still take a loan authorization bill at $350 million, which means that we ain't sure out of the $1.2 billion, we can't account for under $1 billion, right? Because we have to find $350,000 because we're not sure we're going to be, and that's the biggest loan. Every budget has a loan authorization bill with it. Let me make that clear. But this is the biggest one that I've ever known. $350 million loan authorization, which means that the government can borrow up to $350 million for this year to fund anything that they have to do. And meanwhile, while they've done that and they have that in place so that in case they don't make money under the different areas that they say they're going to make money under, they have put in place a system where they're saying they're going to get money from CBI. But we've seen what's happening in St. Lucia with CBI. And if you're reading a lot and if you're following these things online, you would see that St. Lucia has made their CBI program much more enticing to people who are looking for a second passport, who are looking for an economic citizenship path to citizenship, who are looking at that. They have made theirs more reasonable. That we've also seen that Dominica and St. Kitts are doing the same thing. So it's ending up in a situation where their passports are cheaper to get than the Grenadian passport, but offer the same, and in one or two instances, maybe even more benefits than having a Grenadian passport. That's what's happening with the CBI program. So if your projection for CBI was that you're going to make out of the $1.2 billion, that the $0.2 billion you'd have make it out of CBI, they have to revise their figures in relation to the CBI. Additionally, one of the selling points for the CBI program in Grenada was that the passport you receive from the CBI program, you would be eligible to gain one of the economic visas to the United States. Yeah, you could get the E-visa, the E2, I think it's E2 visa to the United States. That's something that's open to all Grenadians, right? But you had to invest a certain amount of money and different things like that, right? Now, that has been stopped. So people who are gaining their passports under CBI can't qualify for that visa anymore. And then on top of that, you have the European Union who are making some serious decisions in relation to the Schengen visa, which is the visa that we don't need to have. In other words, when we have a Grenadian passport, we could leave here and we could fly to London. From London, we could go to France. We don't need a visa to enter France. We don't need a visa to enter Germany. We don't need a visa to enter Switzerland. We don't need a visa to enter any of the European Union countries. All right, we can travel to each of them. The only time we would need a visa is if we're staying in some instances over 60 days, in some instances over 90 days, then you would need to go in and get a visa to be able to stay within that country. But generally, Grenadians can travel to any of these countries, and we don't need a visa. All right? Now, the European Union is saying, not only for Grenada, because other countries may have the Schengen in the region as well, that they are going to revoke that. They're going to put it in place now that Grenadians may need to have to get a visa to enter their countries, which means we'd have to go through similar to what we've been going through when it comes to getting a US visa or a Canadian visa, that we might be going through the same now when it comes to going into Europe. It may be a situation that they do it only for people who obtain their passports through citizenship by investment. It could be that they may put it in that way, or the other ways that they may put it across the board. Remove that benefit of the Schengen visa. All right? So all of this has to be looked at, because then the people who otherwise wanted a Grenadian passport, because then they had that ability, their passport from their country may mean that they had to get a visa to enter France, that they had to get a visa to enter Sweden or so. Now, with a Grenadian passport, they can enter those countries without needing a visa. So it puts a situation that affects the bottom line for the government of Grenada, in that they're saying, we are going to get 200 million or 300 million, or even if it's $50 million that they were planning they're going to get off a CBI, they now have to go back to the drawing board and revise their figures. But they won't even come and tell you that. They won't tell you that. In fact, watch. They're so staying away from speaking to you that last night, and we want to thank Dr. Bert Braffett for being on with us last night again, to give you some information in relation to what is taking place with COVID right now. You can't hear your Ministry of Health. Your Ministry of Health has gone silent. And I'm not blaming the staff in the Ministry of Health. I'm blaming the leadership, because they have to give the directive and they have to prioritize ensuring that you, the Grenadian people, continue to have up-to-date, proper information in relation to these things. There's a new variant out. And before people just start to accept WhatsApp messages from God knows who, because you just see these WhatsApp messages come in and they say the Ministry of Health says. That could be the Ministry of Health in Timbuktu. That could be the Ministry of Health in Swaziland. That could be the Ministry of Health in New Zealand. It could be the Ministry of Health in Bhutan. But you just get a WhatsApp message that says the Ministry of Health says that there's a new variant out and do this, do that, the other. And people just accept it. And that is because there's a void of information coming from official sources in Grenada. So once people see something coming out that says the Ministry of Health, they begin to share it. So we have to be very careful with that. Yeah? We have to be very, very careful with that. I'll continue to say that. Yeah.
Easy governing, easy managing, easy politicking.
Let me say a special good night to you, Gail. Know that you are locked in. Kisha, good night to you. Yes, Kisha, it is the E2 visa, yeah. And they only named two countries. When the US sent out that note, the only name was Grenada, and I can't remember if Belize or who else, but it was another country. The two countries they specifically named was Grenada and that country. Again, that diminishes the Grenadian passport in the realm of economic citizenship and the CBI, yeah?
What's your opinion about life in Grenada?
Are we hearing from the government, these are some of the other areas that we intend to raise revenue from? Instead, after putting out a budget and saying it's the most wonderful budget ever and all this thing and all the glowing talk about the budget and so on, oh, they did such a wonderful budget. The first thing for the new year, less than 6 weeks after putting out that budget, well, less than 4 weeks after putting out the budget, really, they came to you to say, hey, this year going to be a rough year. The same people who are saying, well, everything going to be pie in the sky and pie on your plate. Instead, you get pie in your eye.
We have come a long way, people, let me tell you. We have come a long way, oh Lord. We have come a long way, truly I can tell you, we have come a long way, oh Lord. We have come a long way. We have an international airport like other nations. We have come a long way. We can play out.
So remember, in the same way that years ago, you had the offshore banking, and one of the things, you had offshore banking throughout the Caribbean, you had it here in Grenada and one or two countries. And the United States, Canada, and the European countries found that too much money was leaving their territory and coming to the Caribbean region. And therefore, they put different measures in place to shut down offshore banking throughout the Caribbean. And similarly, right now, they're seeing a similar trend in relation to CBI, Citizenship by Investment, and the Caribbean region. And as such, they're doing their best to shut it down. So CBI may have a lifespan, you never know, another 24 months, another 5 years, but not much more than that, because some of the regulations that are being put in place by some of the countries that people that want a passport under CBI, they want to be able to travel to, those countries are putting various things to block them. It affects the bottom line here in Grenada, because then remember, you have increases in spending in some areas. So you have increases in spending, for instance. You have, I think the figure was 315,000 additional a year in relation to salaries for just the cabinet itself alone. If my figures I'm remembering correctly. So we're looking somewhere around 315,000. Yeah, just for the increase for cabinet. Non-taxable. We're talking about money that they can't tax. That's just for cabinet. Plus, you have an additional 500,000 a month. At least, at the very least, that may be the least amount. If it's less than that, it's not by much. That has to be found every month now for the additional 500 or so people that have been put onto the pension scroll. They have to be paid. Don't think it's just the one-off that they get. They get a one-off alone, you know. That was what was owed from before that they got there, and they have to be paid a pension every month now. So government has to find those additional resources. All right? So when you have these additions, these things that you were not paying before that you have to start paying now, you have to find more money to pay it. But then what you're planning that we're going to make the money from, it seems as though that ain't happening. Then you have to come back to the people and say, well, look, we have this strategy in place. We have that strategy in place. This is what we're looking to do, because those of us out here that are following and know what's happening, we are being very, very suspicious of some of the moves taking place, because we remember in the budget statement, there was a case made for disposal of assets. What assets does the state of Grenada have to be disposing of? Yeah? It's obvious, and most of us who are in the know would think that most likely and most obviously they're speaking about Grenlec. That is the most likely one to be sold. Who will it be sold to? We don't know. But again, in my personal view, and I'm giving Sheldon's view now, my view is that if any shares that government has, the government has the shares now of Grenlec ought to be sold, it should be sold to the Grenadian people. Not to some company that comes out and they give them the majority of shares and our electricity company ends up in the hands of somebody else again, as what happened back in 1994. It should be a case that the Grenadian people are given the opportunity to earn those shares, so that even if you have to go in Ariza and speak to the loan officer there and get a little loan to buy the shares, you know that when you're getting the dividends and so on over a period of time, you'd more than make back your money. Or you have to run in Grenville Credit Union or so and talk to them. Yeah, they soon open my branch somewhere, free advertisement. They soon open my branch down in Granans. Yeah? So that you at least would own part of Grenlec and you would be receiving the dividends. But when you take it and you sell it to a foreign company or a foreign entity, yeah, by whatever name they decide to come back by this time, I know what I'm saying. By whatever name they decide to come back by this time. You ever heard of shell companies? Anyway, research the term shell companies and so. Right. Whatever name they decide to come back by this time, if you decide that you're going to sell the company to a foreign entity, then they are the ones getting the dividends. All we gain is the bill. So you would be getting your bill, Whereas at the end of the year, you would have been getting dividend if you had earned shares in it. This government would be looking to give it to somebody else. So I'm saying that the best approach would have been, and I'm giving that advice, because I know they ain't taking it too, but I'm giving it still, would be to sell it to the Grenadian people. Allow you, allow me, allow those of you in the diaspora right now, like Lisa, good night to you from London, all right? And all of you there, to allow each of us to earn shares, own shares, purchase and own shares, and let the dividends stay in Grenada instead of the dividends going to Miami. Let the benefit from whatever is taking place with Grenlec be to the Grenadian people, and we're not saying let government manage it. If you have been listening to the New National Party before, the discussion was around getting a company to come in and manage Grenlec. So you would have a management companies. There are companies that specifically do management. So you would have a management company coming in. They would do the management of Grenlec. They ensure everything is operating properly, and so what needs to be purchased is purchased, what needs to be done is done. They would ensure that that is done, and they are paid a fee on a yearly basis for doing that. But the benefits, the dividends, would come to the teachers, the police officers who might have a couple shares. So you buy some shares that you decide you want to pass on to your children when they get to the age of 18. Right? So that at least the shares would reside here in Grenada. And the benefits from owning the shares would reside here in Grenada, instead of people outside of Grenada being the ones that are benefiting from all the money that we have to spend on a monthly basis with Grenlec. That's very simple. So, all I gotta say, if the intention of the present administration is to sell Grenlec and to sell it to some entity outside there, outside of the Grenadian people, all I have to say is, yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah. That's all I have to say on that one. And good night to you, Wallan.
Independent, yes, I'm celebrating. Some wicked politics who they playing. But only my people.
Again, that's why I keep saying that you all need to go back and listen to the presentation that was made by Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, his response to Budget 2023. Because a lot of what I'm saying here now is what he said then, and you're seeing it manifesting right now. Yeah? Good night to you, Philip. Good night to you, Christopher and Gavin, Oswald. Good night. Casimir, good night. Casimir, I don't have the figures right now in relation to the present wage bill right now. Remember, every month when government has to pay out, they have to pay out they have to pay the wage bill, so they have to pay everybody that's working under government, right? Then they also have to pay the pensioners. Now you have an increase in the amount of pensioners and an increase in the amount that you have to pay out there, right? I'm simply saying, if you had to pay $40-something million out there, right? You could pay 20, and you take the other 20 and you spread it around the economy. And then you give the people who you owe the other 20. You could give them 5, 5, 5, 5, or you could give them 10 and 10, or you could give them 15 and 5, whichever combination over a period of time. But some people wanted to thump the chest that they pay $40-something million. Meanwhile, police officers still waiting to hear about pay and grade, and they're waiting to hear about other things. In fact, I hear somebody was saying that the police officers now, that they accept the 4%, but the 4% was agreed to before. So they were already stuck into accepting the 4% for 2023. So it's not that they agree on it. They had agreed on that before. The 4% for 2023, sorry. Right? But they were asking for something else now for 2024 and 2025, while the government isn't willing to meet them at that level. That's what's taking place on that particular one. So we're following that one closely,
When we could stop the Kentucky flow, then we independent. And promote the local chicken some more, then we independent. Ahoy.
Also, we continue to ask the question, was a government minister involved in what took place on the port of St. George with the removal of items on the port during the night? That items were passing out there. We're hearing figures upwards of $800,000 that the state may have lost. That's what is being alleged out there. I'm not saying that that's the exact figure and that's correct, but that's the allegation, that it could be upwards of $800,000 that the state of Grenada has lost because of what took place on the port, with trucks that were packed up with goods and so and things leaving the port in the night without going through the proper process. In fact, we know that one worker was disciplined. We haven't heard the final thing in relation to that. I think they're on suspension for a period of time, and then they'll be placed in some other area to work or so. But we're hearing of thousands of dollars of exit passes. But we're hearing about the worker. What we're not hearing about is who had the exit passes. Look, just last week, we were hearing of an incident on the port where certain items were found. Yeah? We're hearing of an incident. I can't say that I saw a release from the RGPF in relation to it, but I'm hearing an allegation of firearms found being brought into the country by an individual. So what if that individual had gotten one of those exit passes back in the day? What if it's not the first time that something like that is taking place, and that individual was one of the people that got this stuff off the port without customs and them going through it properly? You understand why we continue to ask, who are the people who are involved? Because we're hearing that a government minister was one of them. Or the one. Who knows if it's one or more? But it have to have people. If you have exit passes, the exit passes don't go out and drive a truck for themselves. They are inanimate objects. So it's obvious that you have an individual or individuals, a company or companies that were in receipt of those exit passes. And the Grenadian people need to know who were the individual or individuals, company or companies that were in receipt of those illegal, fraudulent exit passes. It's not me alone that say it illegal and fraudulent. The Grenada Ports Authority put out a release saying that the state of Grenada lost significant amounts of money, and the Grenada Port Authority lost significant amounts of money as well. Yeah? So we need to know, because if a man could be coming through now with a container, or whether it's a container, a barrel, a box, or whatever it is that he had on the port, and it had all these illegal items in it, it had guns in it, it had ammunition in it, from what we're hearing, yeah, that was found on the port. Now, what if he was one of the people that had an exit pass last year and this is not the first time this thing taking place? Who knows what else left the port? So what we think is rice and chicken and thing that leave the port alone? We don't know. So as such, deeper investigation in relation to this issue needs to take place. Again, deeper investigation in relation to this issue needs to take place. If you all want to leave it alone, I ain't leaving it alone. Right? If you all want to leave it alone, I am not leaving it alone. Alright? We need to ensure that we find out. I'm seeing one allegation here. The RGPF did do a release. I didn't see the release. I don't know. As I said, I did not see the release myself. We have a call online. Good night. Hello? Hello, good night.
Hello, Sheldon. Good evening.
Good evening, my dear. How are you today?
Thank God for life.
Of course. We're always thankful.
When I listen to news, I listen to news with that the night they give out the news. You check it out?
Yeah.
The individual get 20. Let me come in the radio. Tell that the person who get the thing with the port, remember, they give them $20,000. They saying with two surety. And I know a man was getting the same gun on the place where they go and look for, and 2 sureties. And sometimes they don't want to, they don't give them bail, you know. They're sending him up in Richmond Hill. What is the problem they know? I see this kind of lawless things I see they want to bring in Grenada here. We have to watch ourselves, you know. We got to watch ourselves.
Yes, we have to be very, very careful.
We have
because
to be very careful.
how-
We have to watch ourselves.
no, we're seeing in action what
That is
could
it.
what could possibly happen, because imagine if this man was one of the people that had gotten a pass now
That is it.
to get eating off the port in the middle of the night.
The
So
kind of thing what they
we don't know.
And they know. Everybody keep it in the dark, you know. And they don't talking about it. I bet you if it's in days of Dr. Kit Mitchell, everybody with a the Facebook and calling program, everything. I don't hear nobody calling program with that yet, you know. I Lisa, Radio Grenada, Shaggy Station. I don't hear nobody calling and give their views about it.
Because that's a dangerous situation. Listen, we have a situation next door in St. Vincent where there are over 60 murders for last year. We have a situation in St. Lucia where there were over 70, I believe. You have a situation in Trinidad, there are over 600. You know what these people are being killed with?
This is it.
The same thing that they find on the port here in Grenada. And that's what they find. Who know what they didn't find?
In Western Union, and I stand in Western Union in Grenville, and I listen some guys saying, this from St. David, they're saying, if ever Kit Mitchell go in power, you go here. You will see. He got real trouble. Just a little, I stand up there. Tell I don't know them guys' name. But they have the conference. And that's what they say, you know. So all that of them you getting out going on in Grenada here, you know.
You see,
Making it simple.
it's because we believe in a
All of
God.
us have to watch we back, you know.
It's because we believe in a God that we don't have to be afraid of anything. So when the time comes for us to go, we have to go. Nothing goes and stop it. So you can't be afraid of that.
People, you didn't talk, you know, a lot of things going on, you know. But because we talking, when you hear we go in parliament, we opposition have to say things. We shutting we mouth. We have to say things. All right.
All right, my dear.
Have a blessed
Thank you
night.
so very much.
Okay.
All right, yeah, and I'm going to say it again. Yeah? What would be the situation if one of the passes that the Grenada Port Authority has confirmed were given out to certain individuals or sold to different individuals to get items off the port when they should not have been leaving the port? What would have occurred if this individual was one of the people that get it? So 1,000 rounds of ammunition is 1,000. I seen somebody sent a message to me just now because they said it was in the news. So they were giving me the information about it. 1,000 rounds of ammunition, over 1,000 rounds of 2 rifles and 2 handguns. That's the allegation I'm seeing there. All right. We have a caller online. Good night.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good night. I see you, Pierre.
I ain't that good looking to be one of them.
Yeah, it was Mr. address for the nation, I think, for the confined New Year. Because I was here during the campaign, he say that tourism is not part of the 5 pillar whatever, tourism is not the only tourism they will the medical tourism.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear he beginning up tourism today, so I don't know if reality struck him that he realized tourism is part of greater main pillar.
But of course it is.
But that, I don't hear you mention nothing about agriculture. All I hear you mention about the tourism, the boost of the tourism now, and it makes sense, and telling people to plan for and well, when he say that is not part of his priority, the medical tourism, building the teaching hospital. So I don't know if reality had hit him that the whole Caribbean is a tourism economy. So maybe that might struck him now. So I said he come to his senses. Take him.
All right, my brother. Thank you. And you see, once you know and you understand how beautiful Grenada is, once you know for a fact that angels does come here for holiday. Yeah, angels does come in Grenada. That is where angels does leave heaven. that does come and spend their holidays in Grenada, that does vacation here. You know, as I often tell my friends from all over the world, you don't have to die to go to paradise. You just take a ticket and come to Grenada. Yeah? You don't have to die to go to paradise. Just take a ticket and come to Grenada. All right? And make sure you make a trip to Petit Martinique and Carriacou as well. All right? Nice. Because that is the situation. And that's why I continue to say, we need to know, we need to be told, we have to ask, and we have to seek an answer in relation to who are the individuals that were involved in what happened there. And we have a call on the WhatsApp. Let me get that call up. Good night.
Hey, Shalom, good night.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, season greetings, man. Happy New Year.
Same to you, my brother. Go right ahead.
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm listening to all these little things that are happening since June 23rd to now. I mean, a lot of things are happening. I listen to some of the ministers and their utterances.
Mm-hmm.
And like you always say, you have to listen to these people, and it's what they're saying, and it's how they're saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a guy could say that if you vote for an MP, or when you vote for an MP, you didn't vote for pension. And basically, in this context, he's trying to say like, well, all they didn't vote for pension, so all they shouldn't get, but all these Grenadians still. So they have a kind of reproachful kind of way. That the man saying it. I listened to that guy this morning, a minister this morning, and that's basically how the man come across when he talking. You understand? These men them feel that they are there and what they say goes, and because they feel it will be there for a long time, they go do what they want. Every living thing that NMP did was nothing for Grenada. Grenada wasn't Grenada before NEC come. So right now, NEC come, Grenada no rich. Grenada come with a plane now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I find rather strange. And all these things happening on the port. We having the Minister of National Security, things happening, COVID going up. We ain't seen the Prime Minister, we hearing. We hearing people calling on radio stations,
my brother,
but they can't get ministers.
Let me tell you something.
They can't see ministers.
Because I know you're on a WhatsApp call, so I know you don't losing no money when you make this call. So here's this.
Tell me.
When you hear what's taking place in Trinidad, if you're following the news there, you realize they've been finding. Right, but you know they've also been finding significant numbers of firearms in Trinidad coming through the port. Yes. In Point Lisas and other locations, they've been finding significant amounts of weapons been coming into the country by that means.
And it's high-powered rifles too.
So what do you think if they had a situation in Trinidad that a bunch of containers and different things just disappear from the port in the night? That they wasn't coming and tell the public these are the people and the people would not already been dealt with?
Yeah.
They would have been dealt with. But here in Grenada, we take the approach that some trucks leave with things. We don't know what they leave with. You and I don't know what they leave with, because remember, they left under a circumstance that customs didn't investigate and go through to make sure that things that shouldn't be coming into the country ain't coming. So we don't know. The possibility of guns is there. The possibility of drugs is there. So the possibility of anything could have been coming into the country because people just got a pass and they passed stuff through the port without the proper checks and balances taking place.
Yeah.
And we are not being told who those people that did that are. All we're being told is that one young lady, and then to try and throw off from the fact of who it was involved in the thing, they start to circulate the young lady picture and all kind of thing, trying to embarrass her, because what they really wanted her to do is to cut and run. They wanted her to cut and go in the States or go in Canada or go in another island and leave, to be embarrassed and go. So that the investigation could have done.
I want that lady stay here. And you know what is rather alarming? All these little things are happening after the elections. They blaming NMP for it. Right? Now if NMP had to be blamed for anything, take the blame. But these things happening way down after elections.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they blaming NMP for it. I hear again this morning, I listen to programs, you know. These men them coming on the police because the police block a road in Carriacou for a function, and let's imagine it, the pitching togetherness, but they're saying, well, the bingo was a NMP person on. So that is reason. And the men coming on like, I was like, my God, if the police block the road or whoever blocked the road for whatever function, use another road. What NMP or NEC have to do with that? And these people talking about togetherness. I mean, the hatred that they have, about who leaked letter and they want to know who leaked letter and this man had the most integrity in the world. Come on, NDC, come on. All you sending people left, right, and center. The last person I had sent was a guy in Karakou, a security guy in Karakou. The man get letter what? The Friday? For the Tuesday or the whenever. I mean, come on, you give people a dismissal letter on a Friday with no probable cause and say you're paying for the month.
Well,
come on, NDC, let's play the fool, man.
I know of a situation where a particular contractor, they didn't even hand him the letter, they slip it under his door, on Friday afternoon. So he had to spend Saturday calling around to his staff to tell them that you no longer have a job, don't report for work on Monday. Well, on Sunday, because the employment that they had included people having to work on the Sunday. Yeah? So these are people that don't care about people, so you expect that kind of thing. All right, my brother.
Before I go, yet still the minister in Karakou saying, well, the nurses get $500 and that better than nothing because the former prime minister disrespect them and call them thieves or whatever. But yet you get $2,000 extra and you're using the government vehicle to drive up and down the damn place. Why shall I know later?
All right, my brother. So, folks, yeah, you heard it did. You could call on WhatsApp. All right, yeah, 440-7377. You could call us on WhatsApp. In fact, I find the WhatsApp song in clearer than even the local line there. You think working good? All right, folks, yeah. That port issue is a serious issue. And if they think I'm going to drop it, I don't want the embarrassment. I really don't want the embarrassment of having FBI agents having to come down here because it had some kind of ring going on, including things coming off the port in Grenada without being properly checked and so on. Yeah? I don't want to hear that the FBI had to come down in Grenada and that you have people in very high positions in government now who might be involved in it. Yeah? So tell us who is the people. Let us know what it is that came off the port. Yeah? We want to know. Do you know what came off the port or you just don't know? Because if you're able to give a monetary figure, you must know some of the stuff that was itemized that should have been there. But did customs officers go through it? Did they make sure that what was supposed to be detergent was really detergent and not another white powdery substance? Did they go through and make sure that everything that was labeled as one thing was what it is? Or that some things may have had ammunition in it? Or that some things may have had arms in it? We don't know. And some people say, well, boy, you're putting yourself in danger saying that thing, because if that is the case, the people who do that go want you. I ain't afraid. When I had to go. When you had to go, you had to go. The most you could do is say, oh God, when it happened. But when you had to go, you had to go. But the bottom line is, I do not want to see my country end up in the state that you're seeing St. Lucia and that you're seeing St. Vincent and that you're seeing Trinidad in, and even St. Kitts. I do not want to see my country end up like that. And I know that there's no one in the Royal Grenada Police Force that want to see our country like that. Yeah? You know what it's going to be like for the Royal Grenada Police Force to have to face off against somebody with an AR-15 rifle. You know what an AR-15 rifle is? You know how much rounds per minute that thing could spit out? And then somebody having 1,000 rounds to be able to do it? Come on, we really, really and truly have to get to the bottom of this. And we have another caller on the line. Good night.
Hello, good night. This
Hi.
is Scott.
Good night. How are you doing?
I'm good. Happy New Year.
Same to you, my dear, and same to your family.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, go
Well,
right
I
ahead.
see a lot of things going on in Grenada.
Yes, of course. And that's why I'm saying we need to know the full details, full disclosure of what took place on the port of St. George with items leaving the port and who was involved. Not just that a young lady was involved. She's the least of the
That's
apostles.
right.
We want to know who are the others. We want to know who were in
Yeah,
receipt
because-
of that.
That's it, because you see, when people come and look at barrel, they want to dig up everything, put out everything on the ground, and now they have these big things and they ain't digging it up. You know?
Yeah, and we need to know, because we don't want our country have records like we're hearing in the other countries there, that you hearing 60-something murders in a year, 70-something murders in a year. Trinidad have a population of 1.2 million or something, but 600 murders in a year. I mean, you want to hear that kind of thing taking place in Grenada? Or we have to clamp down on it now, so we need to know all of the little gaps that it have, that things was slipping in, and we need to stop it and block it. And the only way we could do that is by exposing what has taken place on the port of St. George. And if a senior government official, minister, or etc., whatever it is, has been involved in what took place there, and we need to know what came through the port. Because apparently the police didn't get to go through it. The customs didn't get to go through it, apparently. But it leave the port. It leave.
But
without paying, it leave.
Sheldon, you think the same thing that they get in Calais about the guns, ammunition is connected to that same thing?
I don't want to say something like that. I don't know. I honestly don't know. What I could say is this. I can say it is a dangerous precedent. It should open the eyes of all of us that we need to ask further questions, and we mustn't just leave things sitting like that and say, well, that happened and he done and he okay. Because you see, what this administration is hoping is that you and me stop talk about this issue.
That's it.
They want that issue dead.
Speaking about it and get answers.
Yeah, that's why they went to the point of actually, after the person had been relieved by the Grenada Ports Authority Board of Directors, they relieved the person of the duties, that the person was taken back and so on, because they want to say basically now, that is the end of the matter. That's what they want to say. No? That is not the end of the matter, that is the beginning of the matter.
But I hear talk that she is not on the port, she's somewhere in Grenville.
Well, the thing is, as I said, she's the least of the apostles, you know. I ain't too interested in her except for her protection and her security. That's the only thing I'm interested in for her.
She need a lot of protection.
Yeah, so wherever she is, I pray God's blessings and guidance and protection over her. So she's the least of the thing. Who we need to know is who was in receipt of those passes that she gave out. And we ain't alleging, because the Port Authority said they did an investigation and she did give out the passes. We need to know who it was either buying the passes or getting the passes free or so to pass things off the port. That is what we need to know. Yeah, that's what we really need to know. Who are those people?
Yeah, because they're about to come back home, and I hope I'm coming back home in a safe place.
Grenada is safe enough. What we want to do is keep it that way. And if we let things like this slip up, then we would not be safe. Grenada is the safest country in the Caribbean, right? It's no way safer than Grenada. Just the same way it's no way more beautiful. So come home, come online, go and drink a coconut water, lie down on Grandans Beach and take a little relax. Go up in River Sally and go and take a little thing in the Sulphur Spring and then go in Bathway. And so come home, come and take a nice little relax. You don't have to be afraid. But we want to keep it that way, that you don't have to be afraid to come home.
Yes, we want to keep it that way. So I'm enjoying the program and keep going.
All right, my dear. Stay good.
Have a blessed.
Same to you as well. All right. And folks, I think we have, let me just make sure I get it. I believe we have another call online. Good night.
Hey, good night, Sheldon.
Hey, how you doing, brother?
I'm okay, man. Okay.
Yeah,
Sheldon,
go right ahead, man.
I remember in the campaign, election campaign, the opposition was saying that the high cost of living in Grenada is because of NMP government. And you ask the Grenada people to vote them, even if they vote them in government, poverty will be no longer. The cost of living will be going down. It will be going down. And Brother Sheldon, instead, we see the cost of living up, and up. All the time, we know definitely that the cost of living going up in the country, it has nothing to do with government. It's because of the war that is fighting between Russia and Ukraine that caused some of the cost living to go up. Right? So you see, when you said something to people, I know definitely what you're saying to people is not government to be blamed. And we don't blame the government right now for the cost of living going up because we know definitely what is going on. But you tell the people, you tell the Ghanaian people that this government is the cause of the high cost of living, and then vote for you, you will bring on the cost of living and poverty will be no longer. And what we see more poverty, because when you have people that are working and you send them home, you're making it worse for the Ghanaian people. Also Ghanaian people. So I call upon the Ghanaian people. Yes, we have to speak out. Right? And I always say we want to see every government be successful. Well, the government, they have to do what is right. and look at people as they look at themselves. Not only look at those who support you and those who don't support you. You're looking at them as nobody. And I always say, if you want to win over people, you have to reach out and help them. Reach out and help them. You can only help who support you. Because politics is about people. And more people you help, it will be better for you. So, Brother Sheldon, have a good night.
All right, thank you very much, caller. Yes, folks. So remember, you can call in on the WhatsApp. Yeah, you can call in. Let me just make sure I clear it. Nice. Right. Yeah, beautiful. Working wonderful. Here we clean. Nice. Right. Working on the WhatsApp. Right. So you can call. One person messaged me there. This also said, selling of Grenlec is against the national security safety of our country. And I agree. Yeah. Let us own it. Don't let a foreign entity who could decide that they're going to leave it there, lay rotten down. Because it have a possibility that the country might take it back. Yeah. Don't put it in the hands of a foreign entity who could be controlled by a foreign government or foreign governments who could decide that they're going to pressure Grenada, that they're going to make sure that Grenada can't set up a factory or something because we're going to pressure that company to find excuses to increase the price of electricity over a period of time so that it makes it untenable for any type of manufacturing to take place. Because by the time you pay the electricity bills and those things, that even the hotels would end up in problems because the hotels pay some heavy bills, heavy electricity bills that the hotels are paying because they have to keep lights on. You can't turn off the lights in the footpath and so in the night. What if a guest is walking through there and they fall down or something? How you going to answer for that one? So they have to keep on the lights. So you want to ensure that for your national security and safety, yeah, that Grenlec remains in the hands of us Grenadians. All right? And that we don't end up with a deal like what took place in 1994. No, I ain't forget the Port Authority. That we don't end up with a deal like what took place in 1994. And the deal was so bad that the NDC started to say it's the NNP that do the deal. Who was in power in 1994? NNP come in power in 1995. That time, deal done, sign everything already. NNP hands was tied. You could have done nothing at that point in time to say you're going and take back Grenlec or you're going and do this or you're going and... There was nothing that could have been done at that point in time. When the NNP came in, I think it was June 1995. Yeah, there's nothing that could have been done. So that deal had so many flaws in it. That share purchase agreement that you weren't even allowed to own a generator. Because a generator, you were producing electricity and the only entity that was allowed to produce electricity in the state of Grenada was Grenlec. That's why when you had the solar panels, legally you had to sell everything to Grenlec and then purchase back. So you had to have 2 meters, one to send out, one to take in. And all of that. That was because of the agreement that was done in 1994. And then after you get out all of that, imagine there's a clause inside there that if Grenlec, the company, wanted your piece of land that you have, because they want to put up, there's water running on it and they want to put in a dam it or something and put in a hydroelectric. Let's say they want to put in a hydroelectric or so, or they wanted to put in a wind farm, or they wanted to put in a solar plant or something. The agreement from 1994 said that the government of Grenada, not Grenlec, the government of Grenada had to take your land. And under the constitution, the government is allowed to seize properties wherever for the national good. So that the government would have had to take your land. The taxpayers of Grenada would have to pay you for that land. But then you have to give it to Grenlec for free. You understand what I'm saying? Not that Grenlec purchase, The share purchase agreement was saying that basically the government of Grenada had to seize your property if Grenlec wanted it, pay you for it, and hand it over to Grenlec. Not sell it over, not lease it, hand it over to Grenlec. That was the kind of things that was in that agreement. And now you're telling me after you get out of all of that we must go back into something like that? No. Let Grenadians own the land. Let us own Grenlec. Yeah? And again, as I said, I ain't finished on that Port Authority thing. We need answers.
celebrate.
We have a call online. Good night.
Hey, good night.
Good night. How are you doing?
Hey, just quiet, Sheldon.
All right. You go right ahead, man. You're live.
Yeah, good. Sheldon, my thing is I'm calling, speaking to the NNPI and the NNP. We're calling for, we have to show stronger unity and a stronger sense of loyalty. We are now in the opposition, and we are now the people's spokesman. That is what NNP is representing. And we are the ones to show the people the things that are going wrong, and we could only do so as a team and as a united team. Just imagine an army where the soldiers are not loyal, or in the army there are certain senior ranking generals who showing disloyalty. What we need to show here is a greater sense of loyalty to our party, so the private, the ordinary foot soldiers could be strong, because they're looking up to that leadership loyalty. So we want senior position to show that sense of loyalty. We could understand, we could cooperate, but do not let our cooperation look like it is interfering with the loyalty. Because I doesn't like when these things happen and it interferes with the ordinary foot soldier. They have to ask questions. They have to no. Let us don't provoke or try to provoke our foot soldiers or ordinary foot soldiers. Let us show that sense of loyalty.
Let me say this to you, caller. You know what's a hard thing for one of your foot soldiers? To know that they see a government come in power, victimizing them, terrorizing them. Before they take their job, they play psychological games with them and let them know that, hey, we have people lined up for your work already. In fact, I hear one saying that they have 80 people lined up for one particular project already. Those NNP people need to go. So they're playing psychological games with you. And while they're doing that to you, people who say they love you and supposed to be supporting you, hugging and kissing them and telling them they're doing a good job, that could never be right.
That's showing some kind of weakness in the loyalty to the people who've been victimized, especially the NNP people. And, you know, I am calling for that kind of, that unity. And I'm calling for, we must first collaborate with each other, strengthen our party before we could go there and collaborate with anybody else. And we must denounce the evil of these people bringing on our people before we could collaborate with them. And we must tell them to stop it, and we must point it out to them strongly, not go around with them and just make it look like if everything in Grenada nice and dandy. People going home and cry, Sheldon. People going home and cry when they lose their job. Look at the seed officers. They wait on all 6 months. And then after, just bam, off the grill. People have loan to pay. People have their mortgage to pay. And bam, off the grill. This is not a loving, caring government that we should go and hug up and say we collaborate in it. We got to be careful with what we do. I know NNP people are stupid. I know NNP leadership is stupid. But we must understand. Sometimes, you know, in the sense of showing love, we have to know that love also comes with, and love also comes with a certain demand. And we have to show it. And we have to demand it. Sheldon, something I hear yesterday, I was walking in Twitter, and I hear a guy, let me not take these threats and these things just simple. I hear a guy was saying to a girl, and he walking Twitter, loudly saying it. He talked about the former Prime Minister of Grenada, was planted in Grenada as a CIA agent. And we have all the evidence and the facts to keep Grenadians poor. Sheldon, in all my life, that's the most backward statement I ever hear from another human being in a long, long time.
Well, let me say this, sir. That individual went to school in August and they was only there for break time.
He had to be.
Yeah. They went to school in August, but only break time. They should. I hope their parents still alive that they could give them back every cent that they spent on their education because they are specially dunce.
And pushing this mentality to damage the image of Dr. Mitchell. And I tell myself, I said, Jesus Christ, hear nonsense. Hear where this or far as where these people will go to push this nonsense, this hate, this division, and yet, on the contrary, we want to say we collaborating with these collaborators. What?
I do collaborating, I do hugging up, I do kissing, I do taking picture, I do a friend. You cannot be treating my people like that and expect me to want to be friend with you. I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend. Yeah? They can't be doing that kind of thing and
somebody that is treating you like a friend. They're not treating you, they are not our friends. They're acting frenemy-like, but they're not our friends. Because
never.
You would never do that to poor people, and Sheldon is first. And when I say people go home and cry, Sheldon, I know what I'm talking about because I see people cry. I see people talking to me, and they're tears. And some of these people did not take part much in any politics. They were working, they were giving my work. Sheldon, the fellas on the bathroom and toilet brigade, some of these guys never take part in no politics, never go to no rally, never wear a jersey. And they were treated like if they were some NMP activists. And
but
sent home.
my brother, you have had the mouthpiece of these people openly calling for all NNPIs to be treated as though you're not a Grenadian citizen, like you have no constitutional rights, like you have no rights, and to treat Grenadians, born Grenadians, to treat them in a specific way. That just because you're a supporter of a particular political party, you should be fired. And what they do? They reward and award them for that sort of nonsense. So while they're awarding and rewarding somebody for that vile rhetoric on one side, they're coming back and tell you, oh, we want to be a friend, we want to unite, we want to hug up and thing. On the other end, come on, man, something definitely had to be wrong with us if we fall into that. Something had to be wrong, man. We can't be taking that kind of nonsense. Yeah?
And that's an insult. Going way back to our Constitution. Because it's the Constitution that gives us the right to have parties.
Well, my brother, imagine you have a program like CES that I now call the cesspool. Because what you see happening there is that first of all, they take their treasurer, and they take one of their sitting parliamentarians and caretakers, and they put them as the two gatekeepers in the CES program. And then when people come out and talk about it, as the brother did up there in St. George Northwest, they start to shut him down. They don't want him to talk. They don't want him to say what he knows for a fact is taking place. He knows for a fact he helped these guys prepare this thing that they should qualify under all that they're looking for. These individuals should qualify. He helped them until he went down there with them and all. And they still wouldn't get through simply because where they come from, they are perceived as being of a particular political leaning.
Sheldon, you know what hurt me in with that program? To hear a former candidate that run for the NDC talking about they give him $30,000 out of that program. He say a minister meet him and tell him, apply. You're okay, man, just apply. So he said, for curiosity, he just applied. He didn't need the money. He said he was given a check, not in his business, in the name of the business where he's supposed to buy the thing from, you know. He was given that check in his name personal. He said, they give me that. He said, I didn't need that, and they just give me that.
And that's a serious allegation, eh? In fact, you know, Bossman, I think I want that name and thing. You know, let me send that to Parliament. We want to know. You understand? We want to know. This is a serious allegation there.
I didn't need that money. They just give me that. It's like a payback for that person. They running in the last, not that election gone, the one before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a payback. And the person, even though they received the money, wasn't all that happy in the way it was done. So they comment in this negative way to another person. You don't get nothing. So long you apply. Well, look, the other day, the man just told me apply. And they called me. He said they give me a check in my name. Not in the name of the business place that he put on the thing for purchasing what he wanted. But the check come in his name personal. So he could have do whatsoever he want with that money.
All right. Thank you very much.
Kind of friendship, nepotism thing.
Nah, I do it in that. All right, my brother. Thank you very much for your call.
You're welcome.
All right. Stay great. Yes, indeed. And you know, that caller is a consistent person. Whether in or out of government, you hear his voice out there speaking on the issues. He's consistent. If you have to give a man an award, he's one of them that definitely have to get an award. He's consistent. Even if he had to do it every day. If you're fed up, your voice that your business, but you're making sure that he comes out and he speaks on a daily basis. But here's something. The government has to find, no, due to certain things that they have done. And this just involves cabinet alone. In other words, the only people benefiting are those in cabinet. They have to find $648,000 additional a year. You know what that's in relation to? That's in relation to the Prime Minister, who is alleged spending $24,000 of your money, $24,000 on a monthly basis for the residents that he is. Well, probably the question can be answered in cabinet and they could say, well, he getting it free. He not paying for it. Tell the Grenadian people. Yeah? Tell the Grenadian people who is residing there. Tell the Grenadian people if they are paying for it. Because they're already paying for Mount Royal. Right? They're paying for security there. And then you are staying at another facility that we are hearing is $24,000 a year. And if that is the case, it means that you're paying $288,000 a year. So over $250,000 just for a residence when you already have a residence. Right? $288,000 that's being paid for a residence when they already have a residence that we, the Grenadian people, have placed there for them. If you want to say you're going to fix it up and so, say that. But don't just say that ain't suit you, ain't going there and you're going to the next place. Explain to the Grenadian people what's taking place. Maybe they might say, well, okay, and so maybe a Grenadian somewhere overseas who has a nice property here might say, well, they're lending it to the state for the period of time instead of you having to go and pay $24,000 a month in relation to the property that the Prime Minister is at right now. Yeah? That's separate property. Not talking about Mount Royal here. Staying at another facility. Alright? I don't want to go and see the facility. I always remember national security issues. Folks, remember you can call on WhatsApp 440-7377. You can call us on WhatsApp on that number as well. If you're overseas, yeah, of course, you could call on the WhatsApp. If you're overseas, it makes it easy for you now. Yeah? But you could also call us direct on 347-329-3101 if you want to do that as well. Nice. And remember, for each member of cabinet, they take an additional $24,000 a year, which when you add up all the members of cabinet, I think it's roughly about 15 of them, it rounds up to about $360,000 a year. Additional, so $288,000 one direction, $360,000 that we know for sure. And here's what, that $360,000 is no tax on it. Yeah, they're not paying a single cent tax on that because you know what? They put it onto their salary as traveling allowance. If you put it onto your salary as part of your salary, they would have had to pay personal income tax on it. So what did they do? They had $600 already as traveling allowance. So they put the $600 and then they add the $2,000 to that. So now, yeah, $2,600 a month. But I still leave the $600 at the side. And because that was there previously. And I'm talking about the $2,000. So $24,000 a year per person. And $360,000 that you are paying, but not a cent a tax comes out of that. It's you cannot tax the traveling allowance. So that's why they take it and they put it as traveling allowance. Right? Meanwhile, some of you that earning 3,500, you have to pay your personal income. You have to pay it, isn't it? You have to pay your personal income tax. Those of you that earning a 4,000 and so. Yeah, it sounds as a lot, but in present day Grenada, $4,000 is not much money, Yeah, you have to pay your personal income tax, but they add $360,000 onto the wage bill as traveling allowance that they are not paying a cent tax on. They like to talk about money. We could have those conversations from now until the next election. We could have those conversations. Yeah? So, it didn't have to be a case that the Prime Minister go and find his residence and you have to pay this kind of money. If the figure that we're hearing is correct, next thing is higher than that. Next thing is lower than that. But the bottom line is, I am sure if you're so loved by the Grenadian people, that it must have somebody that have a house there sit down somewhere that would be suitable for the residence of the Prime Minister, that might say, while you are doing the work that needs to be done on Mount Royal to bring it up to the standard that you believe it should be at, that you are afforded the opportunity to live here for 6 months or 12 months or 24 months or 18 months or whatever it takes. Yeah? You ain't feel that somebody would be willing to do that for the country? I'm sure some people listening right now that say, yeah, we're willing to do that, we're willing to help the country and so, you understand? Nice, yeah. As I said, 49th anniversary of independence coming up, eh?
Hail, hail, Mr. Grenadian. It with great concern that I have this purchase.
Oh boy, I missed one of the calls. So call on the WhatsApp, you can call back.
By your actions that you can kill us. Pay no heed while this country struggle to make progress. Yet you claim that you love Grenada and she is second to none. But the first chance to get you split, you pack up and run. Remember you was counted as a citizen of this nation. Rise and take a stand.
Let me say a special, well, I wonder if it's nighttime. Most likely it's morning. To my wonderful cousin out there in Japan.
What have you done to improve this land? What have you done for your country?
Well, they are bad for my cousin, you know.
Where is the proof you
Just as my cousin and them bad for me are bad for them.
Have you toiled the soil and the hill to reduce our input bills so we could keep a couple dollars in hand? Now is the time to get up and get, cause the worst of time ain't come yet. Now the chips are down, stand up.
Yeah, and I'm seeing one person saying here that now you have the police in 3 locations, so that his personal residence, they are at the official residence at Mount Royal, and they are at the unofficial residence, which is where he's staying right now. And I mean, so you have to send police to 3 different locations and so block off street in town because that's the Prime Minister home and so. Well, not block off the street, but block off parking around that area. I could understand that. Believe me, I can understand that. Eh? But what I can't understand is putting that sort of a burden again. They're talking $648,000 here, you know.
This nation, your work ethics are not what you should emulate. Your production and dedication are second rate. So much petty lies and excuses you make to be on the job. Time is money, so think of how much of it you rob. For too long you come to be like to arrive and forced to leave. Where's the national pride? Time to be productive. What have you done for Grenada lately? What have you done to improve this land? What have you done for your country lately?
Yeah, I'm just checking through some of the messages.
Prove you made a contribution.
But you can call 440-7377. You can call both on WhatsApp or directly with that. And 347-329-3101.
Now is the time to get up and get, cause the worst of time ain't come yet. Now the chips are down, stand up and fight like a man. The country needs you now. Now more than ever. The country needs you now. It don't matter how much you do, It's still little bit to see us through. The nation future depends on you.
Yeah, boots on the ground, boots on the ground, boots in your ear. Pie in the sky, pie in the sky, pie in your eye.
Your role in this quest to rebuild this nation. For too long you stood idly by, not caring about what you see. Don't you know one day you called to lead this country? Yet you fist on crime and waste your time, but crime doesn't.
And you know there are people that would defend this, they would say that's okay and that's all right and that kind of thing. I am saying that there is a residence provided, that it should be utilized. All right, nice. That's just the point that I want to make and stick there. There's a residence, it's there, it should be utilized. If it's not being utilized, then what you need to do, if you find that it needs upgrading or whatever, you get whatever has to be gotten together and you upgrade it. That's not a problem. All right, you upgrade it. Yes, it's going to cost all of us, but you could upgrade it, right? But don't just leave it there and you go and live in somewhere else. I mean, come on.
Now is the time to get up and get, cause the worst of time ain't come yet. Now the cheap part don't stand up and fight like a man. The country needs you now. The country needs you now. It don't matter how much you do, it's still little bit to see us through. The nation future depends on you.
Yes, folks. So remember to like and share, like and share. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm just going through some of the comments that I'm seeing there. So folks, remember, in fact, you know, some of you all need to understand that sometimes you have to ask the questions. And I think that is the reason that government ministers are hiding. You know, they used to sing this song? Yeah, Adam in the garden hiding, hiding, hiding. Adam in the garden hiding. Right now, all of them government ministers hiding. They in the gardens hiding. Because they ain't coming and face you. Yeah, they ain't coming and face you. They ain't coming for you to ask them those questions. Your Minister of National Security isn't telling you, well, look, we are investigating. There are further investigations going on to what took place on the port to ensure that all Grenadians are safe, that we have no machine guns all over the place and ammunition and hand grenade, or that no major drug shipment is what passed through, so that what we thought was breeze and what we thought was flour turned out to be another white powdery substance that came off the Port Authority. They ain't telling you that they're investigating and that they found that that was not the case. They ain't telling you that they find that was the case, so we don't know. But we are left to wonder what took place on the Port Authority. All of a sudden things just come off the port. And we're seeing what's going on in other countries. We're seeing a situation where you're having guns just coming in by the container load and all kind of things in Trinidad. You're seeing a proliferation of guns in St. Lucia. You're seeing a proliferation of guns in St. Vincent. You're seeing these things happening. You're knowing the means that they come in. You had a situation where things disappeared on the port and came out through some sort of collaboration. You don't know what came out and you're not investigating to the point that you're telling us, so wait, you're waiting for the FBI to come down and investigate for us? That's what we're waiting for? We want to get to that stage and that embarrassment for Grenada that we end up with the FBI having to come down here and investigate something like that? Because somehow, maybe the wrong thing might have came through. Yeah, we don't know. Could be that the wrong thing came down and came through and exited. We don't know. But they expect us to just hush on this issue and don't say nothing about that. And oh, they're only talking about that. They're talking about why they don't talk. You can't tell us what to talk about. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. They're out of place and they're rude. You can't tell us what to talk about. We mouth as we own. So if we decide we're talking about that and we're asking questions about that, place yourself in the positions to answer questions about it. When you ask questions, you say, well, how does a minister and a boyfriend end up on the same trip? Who want to send threat about it? Me afraid none of you. Yeah, a bunch of toy soldiers and paper tiger. But you ask the question, how do you be in charge of a minister and of a ministry and your live-in boyfriend ends up on the board of directors of a board that is under you, and you're telling me that you have integrity? And you're telling me that the cabinet that you sit in has integrity, that they didn't find something wrong with that? But a government minister whose husband spends years upon years in the service of Grenada and has a speciality in one particular area, and he's working in that area, you have a problem when that happens. But you don't have a problem with the living boyfriend of a minister ending up on the board of directors of a company that if the boyfriend was on a board of directors of a company that was under another minister, that is another thing. But how in the hell you expect board members to say how they really feel and to talk how they need to talk in the presence of the minister boyfriend? There are certain things they can't say. There are certain recommendations they can't make because they know it's going right back home. You and I know that. So board members can't talk freely. Board members can't because they're not afraid. Well, no, we might say something here that we didn't want to say to the minister, we didn't want to reach to the minister heirs because we don't believe the government is going the right direction on that, and we'd like to make this recommendation. But they're not afraid to say it because they're in the presence of the minister boyfriend. And I'll say it again because, brother man, I ain't afraid you. Boo, I don't afraid you. Yeah? That has no right to be taking place. It is wrong. And who don't like it, that is their business. I say it as it is. Some people like it. I believe it is wrong. Yeah? Because if I did do that, when I was in a certain position, you'd have never hear the end of it. If that had happened under the NNP, you'd have never hear the end of it. The former Prime Minister, his son got a job in the Ministry of Finance. At the time, I don't even think he was the Minister of Finance. Is what they don't say about it is wrong. His son, qualified, has his degree, everything. Get a job in the ministry. All of a sudden was a problem. But it's no problem for the living boyfriend of a sitting government minister to go on all your honeymoon, man. There's no problem. Yeah, go on all your honeymoon. Nice? Beautiful.
Hail, hail, Mr. Grenadian. It's with great concern that I have this person.
And I see what us can't take is the hypocrisy, because see, there seems to be two set of standards here in Grenada. There's one standard when you wear green or you support the New National Party, and there's one standard when you wear yellow and you support the National Democratic Congress. So you can't be telling me, let's unify, let's join together and so on, and you have two sets of standards. Because if certain things, if it's done under the New National Party, it's wrong. But the exact same thing, or even worse, is done under the NDC and is okay and is all right, and we learn it and all kind of thing. That could never be right. That's hypocrisy. Yeah, we have a call online. Good night.
Sheldon.
Hey, good night.
Good night, good night.
Yeah, go right ahead. You're live.
I will talk about all the guns and ammunition reaching Grenada.
Apparently it came in personal effects of an individual who is a returning national and a former member of the military in the US.
Yes, Sheldon. I feel what comment on that?
Well, the person has been charged. I believe they've been released on bail, and the matter is now before the courts, so it's up to the judge. They have a certain limit with their sentencing, how much years prison a person could get. They have a certain limit of how much financial charges could be laid on the person as to how much money they have to pay within a certain period of time. But that is the purview of the judge. The judge would be able to look at the law and the circumstance.
I want to come back to revolution. That's what they want to do. Revolution in Grenada.
Well, I can't understand why somebody would need to bring in an automatic rifle. I don't see a reason for any civilian. I don't even see a reason for a security company to have automatic weapons. I don't see any reason for that. Or semi-automatic. I don't see a reason for that. Yeah? If they have a shotgun or so as
And what is the government doing about that?
well, the government needs to tighten what's taking place on the Port Authority. You have this situation where this was caught. We may have had situations where others came off because we're hearing things leave the port that shouldn't leave the port. So we don't know what pass out.
You understand?
We don't know.
Something they have seen in Paris, something they put in the Paris and nobody know what's going on, and that will cause too much killing in Grenada, and you Grenada come to like Trinidad and Tobago.
So 1,000 bullets, you know how much people that could have killed here? And especially going through a semi-automatic. I think an AR is supposed to be semi-automatic. Imagine that going through that, man.
So you have tight police on the port, commercial police, be extra police will be extra tight on the port. Any goods are coming in, that is such a good thing.
But not only that, it tells us too that we need to revisit what happened last year. Because remember, stuff left the port and we don't know what left or who is involved. We hear and talk, but we don't know what left and who is involved. Whether illegal items were amongst the items that left the port, we don't know. And we may never know. But we could know the people who were involved in removing those items from the port. That needs to be made public.
Yes,
I could tell you something, eh? If it was a situation that it was a former government minister in the NNP administration,
yes,
or a senior person in the NNP that was involved in all those things disappearing from the port, you would have seen a letter leak with all the information. You would have seen it in the papers. Exactly. So you'd have seen it in the papers, you'd have hear all kind of things.
And see power, no, they didn't talk about it. That was right now, they talk about. Nobody call and talk about it. Any people was in power? Yes. And Sharon, one more thing, Sharon. Tell me if that's here, Sharon. I was trying to reference it. And then everybody complaining about it now. What them from Permota area, Sharon, that before the bakery go up. Sharon, what? That is
Oh, the Pisa, yes, I know that Pisa Road, yeah.
That is a river there. Sharon, they will swim from one hole, they fall back to the next hole. The occurrence actually and the Prime Minister passing on the ABC.
Well, see, that's why I was saying that you have to move past, and we're not hearing that from them. You have to move past the patching. You could patch it, and then what happens now? The water gets in between what was there before and the patch, move it out, and sometimes take some more with it. So you have to redo the whole thing.
This is what I was thinking about. I did a concrete the roof first, after I pitch it.
Mm-hmm.
Put a hot mix on it. You last longer. It's like they got dig.
Mm-hmm. That has been done before. One of the problems you tend to have, though, and I've seen it. Remember they concrete the piece from Pedmata Junction going straight down to Redgate, right? After they did that, there was someone doing construction there, and how they did the construction, they caused part of the road to lean. You know? So if you do it, you do the construction, and so you do it properly. But sometimes we, by how we construct our houses, how we do the drainage in front of our houses, or even we doing a wall and so on, sometimes you come and you damage the road. I've seen that happen in the golf course area as well. That piece was, Senator Nolan Cox made sure that piece is fixed. Because I pass there every now and again. So that piece was fixed, but it was construction somebody was doing there and the road collapsed. You know, so that's why I'm saying a more long-term strategy needs to take place rather than just the patching, that we need something that's done now that covers the entire thing. So a program for the East Coast, the West Coast, you redo all this. But this government only talking about patching. So Did it patch? Hello? All right, it seems as though we lost that caller. All right, folks. Oh, boy, and I missed one there. 440-7377. We have roughly 8 minutes remaining on tonight's program. 8 minutes remaining on tonight's program. All right? Nice, yeah. So, again, it is of national importance. It is of national security importance that we have the information, and the information is released in relation to what has taken place on Port St. George. It is not an indictment on the Grenada Port Authority. It is not an indictment on customs. Yeah? I am just saying that full disclosure needs to take place in relation to that issue. We need to know who are the parties, because they keep trying to make it look like it's one party involved. But who are the parties that were involved in that whole dilemma that took place down there?
Now the chips are down, stand up and fight like a man. The country needs you now. The country needs you now. It don't matter how much you do, it's still little bit to see us through. The nation future depends on you.
Well, I don't know if somebody's asking what that person was doing to all them bullets and I don't know. We have no large animals that you're hunting. I mean, what's the biggest thing we have here? Probably people that hunt. Manikou, tattoo, what bigger than that? Monkey, I think is the biggest thing that's probably hunting here. And if you shoot it with what they had there, you ain't really getting no meat, all you getting is shreds. So
This nation, your work ethics are not what you should have.
But at the same token, I'd like to congratulate the officers that were vigilant enough to recognize what was taking place there and to do the search properly to find all of the items that were found. You have protected your country. Yeah, you've done your job. They should be giving them an award. Seriously, they need to give them an award, yeah. The officers who were working on the port that day, and whether the customs officers and who else was working, and they discovered those items there, yeah, they need to award them.
What have you done for your country lately?
Okay, I could see no logical, reasonable, and legal reason to want to bring in that sort of thing here. I could see none, yeah.
Input bills so we could keep a couple dollars in hand. Now is the time to get up and get, cause the worst of time ain't come yet. Now the
Folks, don't forget on the 16th, Monday the 16th, so not this Monday coming. This Monday coming, while I will have a guest, it will not be Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. The following Monday, we will be having a guest on with us, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. So stay tuned, and remember, we have the WhatsApp line now, so you could call on WhatsApp. You don't have to have the credit on the phone. Once you're within the Wi-Fi area and thing, you could make a little call, all right? Nice, and outside of that, you will be able to call directly, and you'd also be able to call on the overseas line, and so nice. I think I might be able to find a way to get the messenger calls and all, you know.
Hail, hail, youths of this blessed land. Time to play your role in this quest to rebuild this land.
So we don't want our country to end up like what we've seen in other countries. Yeah? We don't want our country, this country, our Grenada, the same Grenada that many of us could still leave our doors open and go about with business and come back and meet what we had inside. In fact, we might meet more than we leave, because somebody might drop a 2 fig and a fig and some yam and something inside the door for us. Yeah? People who live listening outside of Grenada who not Grenadians may be wondering what this man talking about. No, that's Grenadians, you know. I live in certain part of St. David's and so, and you used to reach home sometime and you meet a hana fig in your veranda and you meet some yam and thing and they say, well, Bolo dropped that day for you. You understand? You meet a hana planting and all kind of thing in your veranda and thing. Or they open the door and they rest it right inside the house and that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the Grenada that we are in. Yeah? Let's take this call. Let me just make sure I get it properly here. Nice. We have a caller. Good night. Hello. Hi. Good night, caller. Go right ahead. Or the caller isn't there. They're not paying attention to the phone. Caller, go right ahead and pay attention to the phone line. Hello. Caller on the WhatsApp. Oh boy, I think they're listening. there will be a delay between when you hear us and when we're talking to you. There will be a delay between when we're speaking to you and when you hear yourself on the line, but you should lower the volume when you're calling. Once we answer, you need to kill the volume on your thing. So yeah, so let me just make sure. Right, I'm just making sure that I get everything in order there. Yeah, we have roughly 3 minutes. So caller, if you have to call back, you have to call back now. Yeah, because pretty soon we have to close the program. Nice. Yeah, so if you're calling back, you have to call back now. I just got a message there, so we're expanding the program to another radio station. You know, we are on Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn. So I'm shouting out the Brooklyn posse. All right, you know, we are Noise Radio there, and we're going to be expanding locally. So I just got confirmation there. Maybe not every single night, but we'll be on one of the radio stations here, night after night after night. You understand? Yeah, we have the thing coming up. So caller who was calling on the WhatsApp, just remember, if you have to call, you have to call back now. And you know, sometime by the time they hear that, the program done. All right? But anyhow, yeah. So, folks, and let me just see if I can answer here now. Right. Let me make sure that I've gotten that. Yeah, call on the WhatsApp.
Hey, Shalon, before you go,
yeah,
I just want to tell our supporters and members of the party, whenever you guys reach in any confrontation with arguing, well, try not to argue. First of all, try not to argue. Try to walk away. And if you do have to argue constructive thing that making sense, and give them the facts. Because what I realize happening now is that the NDCites, they are actually coming at you with arrogance. They will start by calling you dunce, call you this, they will call you all kind of derogatory names. When you approach them, if some of them are your friends, try to at least de-escalate the situation, because that to me is what they're using as a catalyst to get at the NMP base to say, well, look, you see them, they're fighting among themselves. Because they're stuttering. So let me get ourselves together and let me just keep calm and let me lead them, let their own walls fall around them. Alright?
Alright, my brother.
Yeah.
Alright, wonderful. And folks, that's the last call we're taking for tonight. Yeah, because we only have less than a minute left. So, folks, that's talking points for this week. Remember, we're back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of every week. Alright? And we start at 8. We end at 10. We're going to be having 2 or 3 guests on with us during the week next week. We have to talk about different things. CBI is one of them. We have to talk about some other general issues. And then the following week, we're going to start off the week with the boss himself. Yeah? The general. The most successful politician in the Westminster form of politics. Yeah? The former Prime Minister of Grenada, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Claudius Mitchell. He will be on with us. All right, so that's going to be not this Monday, the following Monday. But remember, tell your friends. Now you can also call via WhatsApp. We're glad to get your calls. We're glad to be interacting with you. We're glad to be speaking with you. Remember to stay safe out there, because we want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. Remember, we ain't forgetting what take place on the port. We ain't letting we look a country go down that drain. We want to know who was involved, so that when we make an example of them kind of thing will never happen again. That's it. My name's Sheldon Scott. I'm out of here. Love all of you.
Balling motor, while some others mad. The people they vote for shirting them bad. They just feel to cause them when they see them pass. Or just take a big stone and knock down their ass. But I have a therapy I'm willing to share. Anytime the pressure get too much to bear, I have a new dance, it is the formula. Once you do it, I know you must feel better. So give me a minute or two, let me explain the dance to you. Just a simple demonstration, it is very easy to learn. Put your hand in the air like this, close your finger and make a fist. Let go your tongue, put it in the air. Wave it like you ain't care. Anytime you see them MP, do it for them to see. And if they ask you what that means, tell them the dance you're doing is one term, one term. dance. Show them the one come dance. One time. Put your thumb up and then balance. Show them the one come dance.